back with your next class. In today's class we are going to discuss secondary growth. Okay, it's a very important part in the whole of chapter, because from this section itself maximum number of questions in NEET has been asked, so it is a very important one. Okay, so all of you do be very careful while we discuss this part. Alright, so secondary growth, you need to have some preliminary idea before we start discussing it in details, and that would be, first thing, see, secondary growth itself means the growth of roots and stem in girth. That means now the plant will grow as per its diameter. Primary growth means growth in length, whereas secondary growth means growth in girth, alright, or diameter. So it will happen with the help of lateral meristems, and that is what is known as secondary growth. Okay, so secondary growth means the growth of the plant as per its girth, and that will be happening by the help of lateral meristems. Alright, now next, secondary growth occurs in most of the dicots, but then it is completely absent in monocots. Do remember, monocots do not show secondary growth. Alright, now next, the lateral meristems. Do you remember lateral meristems? They are of three types, and they will be now functional and will be allowing secondary growth. So it is the intrafascicular vascular cambium, interfascicular vascular cambium, and cork cambium, which are the lateral meristems that will participate in bringing about secondary growth in the dicots. Alright. Next, secondary growth occurs in both gymnosperms and angiosperms. It's not that secondary growth would only occur in angiosperms, because we're talking about dicots all the time, right? That secondary growth occurs in dicots, it's absent in monocots, but that doesn't mean, dicots being the angiosperms, it doesn't mean the secondary growth is only restricted to the angiosperms. It can occur in gymnosperms as well. Rather, gymnosperms are much more arboreal, much more woody and very strong, very tall plants. Okay, they of course would require secondary growth. Alright, next, secondary growth is marked by wood formation. Now this is the most common way by which you can say whether a plant is showing secondary growth or not. When secondary growth initiates or it begins, wood formation can be seen, and that wood itself is technically termed as secondary xylem. Alright, fine. And next, secondary tissues which will be formed during secondary growth includes secondary xylem, that's commonly the wood, secondary phloem, secondary medullary rays. Of course you know about pith rays, isn't it? By now we have discussed about primary medullary rays or primary pith rays. But when secondary growth would begin, you will also get to know about secondary medullary rays, cork, and secondary cortex. Alright. So these are the basic preliminary points regarding secondary growth. Now let us start discussing in details regarding secondary growth in angiosperms. So, or mostly secondary growth in dicots. Alright. So secondary growth in dicots, when we will discuss, we will be discussing separately two sections. First section will discuss secondary growth in dicot stem, and then we'll discuss secondary growth in dicot roots. Alright. So we'll discuss them in detail. So let's start with dicot stem. So now let us discuss the secondary growth in dicot stem. Okay. So we'll start with the very basic, the first step, that is how secondary growth in dicot stem would begin. Okay, and it all starts with the formation of a meristematic ring called cambial ring. Alright, so let's first see how cambial ring will start forming in the dicot stem. That's how it all begins. Okay, so see, so all of you remember that in case of dicot stem, the vascular bundles are going to be all, what kind of? They're all going to be open, they're going to be conjoined, and they are going to be end up. So it is going to be the xylem, and this is the phloem, and of course this red colored marked, this is the intrafascicular vascular cambium, or simply the cambium. Okay, that's why it's open vascular bundle after all, isn't it? So xylem towards pith, phloem towards outside, in between remains the cambium. So open and conjoined vascular bundles, because Protoxylem, that is smaller, is towards pith, and metaxylem, which is wider, is towards periphery. That's why enda. So this being the state of the dicot stem, this is how it will look in dicot stem before secondary growth begins. Okay, so what will be the first thing that will happen when secondary growth has to begin in the dicot stem? So see here, see, let me portray it in this manner. See, what do you call this place, this part, this empty spaces in between two adjacent vascular bundles? Of course, you will call this space to be pith ray, isn't it? So the pith ray which is present in the plant body in the primary growth phase, that is going to be primary pith ray, isn't it? So this is the pith ray or medullary ray, and you know very well it usually consists of parenchyma cells, right? So now suppose if I tell you to make a line, okay, make a line in the pith ray. Listen this carefully. You have to make a line in the pith ray so that that line should join or should connect two adjacent cambiums, two adjacent intrafascicular vascular cambium. So how will you draw that line? Here. Here, isn't it? This is one line that you have drawn within this pith ray that is joining two adjacent cambiums, right? So what happens, you see, during the dicot, during the secondary growth in dicot stem, a few cells of the pith ray or medullary ray undergoes dedifferentiation. Dedifferentiation means what? When permanent cells, they again get back to their dividing state. Permanent cells which were actually not dividing, now they will again get back to their dividing state. They will again become meristematic. That is known as dedifferentiation. Alright. So, a few cells of the pith ray, which joins to adjacent cambium, that undergoes dedifferentiation and would become meristematic again. So, that will be happening for all of them. Okay. Say here also a thin part of the pith ray will become dedifferentiated. Likewise here also the same thing will occur, and that is going to occur here as well. Alright. So what we are having now? We are having a continuous ring of meristem, isn't it? So this red colored marked, these were the intrafascicular vascular cambium. Intra means within the vascular bundle. So this red colored marked were the intrafascicular vascular cambium. Now this blue colored marked meristems that has been created by dedifferentiation, that will be known as interfascicular vascular cambium. Why inter? Because inter means in between. So this is the meristem that lies in between two vascular bundles, isn't it? So interfascicular vascular cambium. Understood that? So we have a continuous ring of meristem right now with us, and it has been formed by a combination of intrafascicular vascular cambium, the red one, and interfascicular vascular cambium, the blue one. Intra red, inter blue. By the combination of both, we have a continuous ring of meristem, isn't it? Now, if I make it a continuous ring, say with red, of course you cannot, after it has been formed, you cannot differentiate between them. They will all get combined together and mixed together. So let me mark this ring not with different colors, rather with red. The red and blue I had marked only so that you can understand properly. Alright. So we have a continuous ring of meristem right now with us. In dicot stem, already intrafascicular vascular cambium was present from beforehand because it was having an open vascular bundle, and by dedifferentiation we already have now interfascicular vascular cambium, and by the combination of both we have a continuous ring of meristem, and this continuous ring of meristem is known as cambial ring. and that is the first step towards formation of or initiation of secondary growth in dicot stem. I hope all of you are clear. So let me tell it to you once again so that it becomes more clear to you. So in case of dicot stem, the vascular bundles are mainly open, conjoined, endark, and here I have taken it to be tetrarch. Okay. Now, already because the vascular bundles are open, they already possess in between xylem and phloem the intrafascicular vascular cambium or simply cambium. Cambium is present. Now, in the pith ray or medullary ray, a thin layer of cells would undergo de-differentiation, means from permanent state they will again become meristematic. Okay, and which particular part will become meristematic? The part that can join two adjacent cambiums. Okay, so that part will become meristematic, and we will call it interfascicular vascular cambium. So by the combination of intra and interfascicular vascular cambium, we will get a continuous ring of meristem, and that will be known as cambial ring. This is how secondary growth begins in the dicot stem. I hope all of you are clear now. Fine. So now see what will happen after cambial ring has been developed. So after cambial ring has been developed, see, throughout our discussion regarding secondary growth, I will be showing you the cambial ring as red. Okay, cambial ring I will be marking as red so that you don't get confused. So this is of course the red color ring. This is the cambial ring. Alright. So cambial ring being a meristematic ring, you already know meristem means continuous state of division. They will continuously keep dividing and adding cells to the plant body. Right. So now this being a cambial ring, so this being a cambial ring, what it will do? It will also continuously divide. And what kind of division it shows? It will show periclinal division. It will show periclinal division. Periclinal division means it will cut off a few cells towards inside. It will also cut off a few cells towards outside. Okay? Few cells towards inside and few cells towards outside. And both will be giving rise to two different layers. Okay? It's not that the cells will give rise to the same thing. No. It will give rise to a few cells towards inside to form a different or distinct layer, and towards outside also a distinct layer. Alright? So, see, when the cambial ring has given, deposited cells towards inside, this is one thick layer that has been formed, and the cells that have been deposited or cut off towards outside has also given rise to a thin layer towards periphery. Thick layer towards pith and thin layer towards periphery. Why thick and thin? That's because cambial ring activity is always more towards inside. Cambial ring activity is always more towards inside. It is more active towards inside and it is less active towards outside. So that means when the cambial ring activity is happening, if the cambium is say depositing 10 cells towards inside, with respect to that it will be suppose like depositing only one cell towards outside. So 10 towards inside, 1 towards outside. If that happens, of course, towards inside a thick layer will be formed and towards outside a thin layer will be formed, isn't it? So when this kept happening, we have a distinct layer formed towards inside, towards pith, and we call it secondary xylem. And the thin layer that has been developed towards periphery is known as secondary phloem. So secondary xylem and secondary phloem has started to form due to the activity of cambial ring. Secondary xylem itself is commonly known as wood. Understood? And as a result of the formation of secondary xylem and secondary phloem, what has happened you see? See, cambial ring was in between xylem and phloem, isn't it? And this xylem and phloem were present in the plant body from beforehand. So now we can call this xylem and this phloem to be primary xylem and primary phloem, isn't it? So when cambial ring activity began, cambial ring has given rise to secondary xylem and secondary phloem. And that would definitely separate the primary xylem and primary phloem apart. Because in between primary xylem and phloem, secondary xylem and phloem has developed already. So that means while these two will develop, primary xylem and primary phloem will move apart. They will move at a distance from one another. So this is the primary xylem and this is the primary phloem. Is that clear? See how they have moved apart because in between them secondary xylem and secondary phloem has already developed. Understood this? Fine. So this is how secondary growth in the dicot stem would start or would begin. Alright. Now for a very, very important part, you have to also know about secondary medullary rays. This that I have marked here is the primary pith ray, primary medullary ray, isn't it? And what is secondary medullary ray? See, the cells that were generated from the cambial ring, the cells that were being, the cambial ring is doing what? It is dividing continuously and it is depositing cells on both its directions. Towards inside, we are getting secondary xylem, means tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers are formed towards inside, and towards outside we are getting secondary phloem, means we are getting sieve tubes, companion cells and so on, right? But also sometimes you see this being suppose the cambial ring, certain parts of the cambial ring do not give rise to secondary xylem and secondary phloem. They rather give rise to parenchyma cells. Okay? Cambial ring is supposed to give rise to xylem elements towards inside, phloem elements towards outside. But instead, at certain parts, it will give rise to only parenchyma cells. Instead of secondary xylem and secondary phloem elements, it will give rise to only parenchyma cells. And those parenchyma cells, they will run radially and straight from the secondary xylem and towards phloem. Continuously they will be formed. Okay. So suppose these are the parenchyma cells. These are the parts where secondary xylem and secondary phloem is not formed. Rather, only parenchyma cells have been deposited by the cambial ring. So if instead of secondary xylem and secondary phloem elements, the cambial ring occasionally, when it deposits parenchyma cells throughout secondary xylem and phloem layer. So those parenchyma cell layers, they are going to be continuous, isn't it? Continuously running through secondary xylem and phloem as if they are like rays being emitted through secondary xylem and phloem. So these parenchyma cell layers are known as secondary medullary rays. Is that clear? Cambial ring is mostly supposed to deposit secondary xylem and phloem elements. But sometimes instead of doing so, it will only deposit parenchyma cells. Those parenchyma cell layers or patches will be known as secondary medullary rays. Is that clear? All of you very well, properly done, properly clear about it? Okay. So let's read it out so that it becomes much more clear, or the highlighting points are much more revised for you. So see here. So secondary growth in dicot stem begins with formation of cambial ring. So in dicot stem, the vascular bundles are open, conjoined and endark. Medullary rays lies in between the vascular bundles, and few cells from the medullary rays which joins two adjacent vascular bundles de-differentiates. This is very, very important, a word. De-differentiates means from permanent it becomes meristematic again to form interfascicular vascular cambium. So together the intra and interfascicular vascular cambium forms a continuous ring of meristem called cambial ring. So cambial ring formation is the first step. Second, after cambial ring formation, what is its activity like? You very well know cambial ring will start periclinal division. Towards inside it will give rise to a thick secondary xylem. Towards outside thin secondary phloem. Alright. So that's what is written here. The cambial ring starts periclinal division and forms secondary xylem towards pith and secondary phloem towards periphery. But as the cambial ring activity is more towards inside, so secondary xylem is more thick in comparison to secondary phloem. As secondary xylem keeps increasing in amount, secondary phloem and primary phloem keeps gradually getting crushed. Now that is also a very important point. See, as secondary xylem will keep on becoming much more expanded, okay, as activity of cambial ring will be much more towards inside and less towards outside, eventually this part, secondary xylem, will keep on becoming thick, whereas in comparison to it, secondary phloem and primary phloem, they will not be able to grow as much, isn't it? So there will come a time when secondary phloem and primary phloem, they will look very minute in comparison to secondary xylem. So as if secondary xylem is crushing the secondary phloem and primary phloem. Alright? Fine. Now secondary medullary rays. So at some places the cambium forms narrow band of parenchyma which passes through secondary xylem and phloem in radial direction. These are called secondary medullary rays and also called vascular rays. They conduct food, water and minerals from center to the periphery of an organ. So they are also going to be allowing radial conduction of water. From center towards periphery, they will send food, water and minerals. Alright, I hope the initial part is clear to you. Next, let us discuss regarding springwood and autumnwood. So now let us discuss a very important topic again, that is springwood and autumnwood. Okay. Now look at the diagram again. So I've already told you cambial ring is marked by red color. Because we are here concerned only regarding wood, that is secondary xylem. So we are not considering any part outside the cambial ring, because we are only going to discuss about secondary xylem here. Secondary xylem itself is the wood, isn't it? And secondary xylem is inside of the cambial ring. Towards inside of the cambial ring, this whole thing, this whole portion is the secondary xylem or wood, isn't it? Alright. Now, here what you need to remember, first thing is that, see, during wood formation, what basically is required is cambial ring activity, isn't it? Cambial ring activity, you know, is more towards inside, so it gives rise to a thick layer of secondary xylem, but it is less towards outside, giving rise to a thin layer of secondary phloem, right? But then also remember that cambial ring activity is not uniform throughout the year. Okay, during the summer, the cambial ring activity is more. It is more active. But in winter, cambial ring activity is less. This much you remember first. Cambial ring activity is not uniform throughout the year. It is much active in summer and it is less active in case of winter. Okay. So suppose when the plant or when it was summer, the cambial ring activity was more, isn't it? And also you know that during summer, for a plant, water's requirement is more. Like for every other organism, during summer we require more water, isn't it? So same is in case of plants as well. So suppose this is the total amount of wood that has been formed in 1 year. Suppose this is the total amount of wood that has been formed in 1 year by the cambial ring. Now you see, during summer, because the cambial ring was more active, isn't it? So it will give rise to a thick layer of wood. Okay, that means it will deposit more xylem element towards inside, and also because the plant is requiring more water during summer, so during summer the xylem that will be formed, they will have much wider tracheids and wider vessels to carry more water, isn't it? So in that case, during summer the cambial ring will produce wood that will be more thick, and because it has wider lumen, the xylem elements have more wider lumen, so the wood formed will be low in density. and because it is lower in density, it is going to be light brown in color. Okay, so this is the, suppose this is the thick part of the wood. This is the total wood, isn't it? This is the total wood formed in 1 year. Out of that total wood, this thick part of the wood has been formed in summer. Okay, so it is light brown in color. Alright, it is thick and it is lower in density. Alright, and when it has been formed? In summer. That means in the first part of the year. Okay, it will start from like developing from spring, and throughout the summer it will develop. Okay, so we will call it spring wood, or we also can call it early wood. Why? Because it has started to develop in the earlier part of the year. Okay, understood that? On the other hand, this is the part of wood that has been formed during winter. As in winter, the cambial ring activity has become less, and also the plant requires less amount of water now. So that's why the xylem elements deposited will be fewer, and also the xylem and the tracheids and vessels formed will be not having much wider lumen. They will be having narrower lumen. So in that case, the wood formed will be exactly opposite. If it was light brown, now it will be dark brown. If it was thick, this time it is thin. If it was lower in density, this will be high in density, isn't it? So we will call this wood to be, that is formed during winter, to be autumn wood or late wood. Autumn, why? Because it will start developing in the autumn. It will start forming in autumn, and throughout winter it will develop. And why late wood? Because it has been formed at the later part of the year. Okay, understood that? So in that case, cambial ring activity is not uniform throughout the year. Cambial ring activity is more towards in the summer, and it is less in the winter. So in the summer, the cambium will give rise to, or the cambial ring will give rise to, thick light brown color, lower density wood, whereas in winter it will give rise to exact opposite nature of wood. Understood? That will give rise to alternate rings, light brown color ring and a dark brown color ring. This is how the cambial ring activity will keep happening. Say after the dark brown ring, that means the winter is over. Again summer approaches. What will happen? The cambial ring activity now will change. It will again start giving rise to a spring wood or early wood or light brown color wood, isn't it? So that's why when you cut the bark of a tree, you usually get to see these concentric rings or not. Light brown ring, then a dark brown ring. Again light brown and a dark brown. This light and dark brown rings, alternate rings, they are together, like one light brown and one dark brown ring together makes up the annual ring. Why? Because it shows, or it gives you, the wood formation for 1 year. For one whole year, one light brown and one dark brown ring was formed. So that's why we call it annual ring. Also we call it growth ring, because as the growth of the plant will keep happening, as the secondary growth will keep proceeding, number of annual rings will also keep increasing in number in the plant body. So that's why we can also call it the growth ring. And the most interesting fact is what you know, by counting the annual rings or growth rings, you can easily estimate the age of the plant. The study of the branch of science that studies this fact, that by counting the rings you can estimate the age of the plant, is known as dendrochronology. The study of this counting rings and estimating the age of the plant is known as dendrochronology. Alright, but the most important thing is that, see, this concentric rings, or this this light and dark brown color rings, these rings will be only properly and prominently formed in temperate areas where summer is very hot and winter is very cold. when there is a considerable amount of temperature difference, only then light and dark brown color rings will be formed properly. In case suppose an area where during summer or winter there is no much of a difference in temperature, the temperature remains uniform throughout. In such areas, the light and dark brown color rings or annual rings won't be formed that properly. You won't be able to find, that kind of a distinction, or you won't be able to find that marked transition between the light and the dark brown color rings. Those transitions prominently will be formed only in temperate areas where summer is very hot and winter is very cold. Alright, I hope all of you are clear. So let's make a revision by reading it out, so that it becomes more clear to you. First, the activity of cambial ring is not uniform throughout the year, but is markedly affected by variations in external environment. Mainly it's about the temperature. So, in temperate regions, the climatic conditions are not uniform, and hence secondary wood produced is different in different seasons. Alright. So, mark here, we are talking here about temperate region. Okay, where summer is very hot or winter is very cold, or rather the summer and winter temperature has a marked difference. Alright. Now, in spring season, the cambium is very active and produces large number of xylem elements with wider lumen as more water is required by the plant. Thus, this wood formed is thick, light brown and lower in density. We call it the spring or early wood. Alright. Likewise, in winter, cambium is less active and produces fewer xylem elements with narrower lumen, as less water is required by the plant. Thus, this wood formed is thin, dark brown and higher in density. It is called autumn or late wood. Alright. Now, transition from spring wood to autumn wood is gradual. Okay, spring to autumn will be gradual. Summer to winter transition is gradual. But transition from autumn wood to spring wood is sudden. So that's what is very interesting or important also. See, the transition from spring wood to autumn wood is gradual. But from the autumn wood to spring wood again is sudden. That's how annual rings can be distinctly marked in the plant body. Okay. So thus the two kinds of wood appear as alternate concentric rings of light and dark colors, constituting the annual rings. So one light color or one spring wood and one autumn wood together makes up one annual ring. Okay. It is also called growth ring, as I have told you, as the plant will keep growing, the number of annual rings will also keep increasing. Hence, we can call it growth ring as well. Annual rings can help estimate the age of the tree. Hence, that particular branch of science, the study is called dendrochronology. Alright, how you can estimate the age of the plant by counting the annual rings. And lastly, annual rings develop properly in temperate regions but poorly in tropical regions. So with that, this topic is also done with. So I'm sure you're clear about it, this part. So with that, I'm completing the class for today. In the next class, we'll start with heartwood and sapwood. Thank you.